Welcome to the Healing Cocoon. I'm Jacobie Gray, soul alignment and success coach and energy healer, which means I can intuit the subtle layers of your energy field to promote ultimate health and well-being. My goal for this podcast is to shed light on the healing journey itself and help you feel more supported as you embark on the process of unpacking your past to consciously create your present and start living the life of your dreams. Through the study of coaching, kinesiology, holographic kinetics, meditation, Reiki, the chakra system, and many other modalities, I've learned how to release the blocks that were holding me back. Now I'd love to help you do the same. By embarking on your own self-healing process, you'll see the world transforming around you in ways you never thought possible. You'll begin to experience more connection, clarity, love, fulfillment, synchronicity, and success than you've ever had before. So welcome to the Ascension. Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome back to the Healing Cocoon podcast for another Friday Metamorphosis Chat. And today we're talking about the third chakra, the solar plexus. And this is the third part in a 7-part series where I'm talking you through each of the chakras. So we've already discussed the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and now we're moving up to the solar plexus. And just to give you an idea of where the solar plexus actually is, it's kind of where your stomach is. And for those of you out there who for a very long time, like me when I was young, thought that my stomach was where my intestines are, actually no, your stomach is higher than that. So if you feel that place, like at the bottom of your sternum where your ribs meet, if you feel there, like that place under there is pretty much where your stomach is, and that is your solar plexus chakra. So the Sanskrit name for the solar plexus chakra is Manipura, and the element is fire. And this is like your internal engine. This chakra is the power chakra, as people like to say. It's a masculine energy, this chakra, and it is yellow. So we've been moving up the rainbow bridge. We went from red to orange and now to yellow. And this chakra, when you see traditionally it drawn, it will have 10 lotus petals. And its signifying statement is, I can, because it's all about self-assertion, autonomy, and your ability to get things done. So I can do these things. It's like that little, there's that locomotive children's book. I think I can. I know I can. I think I can. I know I can. And that is pretty much what we're talking about with this chakra. It's all about that. It can be that internal noise that happens when you are insecure, when you don't have the confidence that you need to get something done, that imposter syndrome. And so I can is the signifying statement of this chakra. And last week, I told you a little fibber, and it's kind of funny because I realized after I recorded the sacral chakra that I told you that the dominating emotion of this chakra was shame. And while there can be a bit of shame in the sacral, it is actually guilt, which makes a lot more sense when you think about when boundaries get blown out and you're getting enmeshed in all of these situations. And guilt is, sexual guilt is put on us from things like religion and the patriarchy and things like that, when we are told not to enjoy our pleasure, but also the guilt that we feel when we are giving too much, or we're being gaslit, or we feel like we're not doing enough, which is why we end up doing too much. But guilt is actually, and I just wanted to clear that up, guilt is actually the dominating emotion of the sacral chakra. The solar plexus is shame. And shame, I think, is something that does cripple your self-esteem. Shame when you feel embarrassed, when you haven't done when you haven't achieved the things that you wanted to achieve, when you do something wrong, when the shame of a secret, when you hold on to a secret. So shame is the dominating emotion, which will probably become clearer as I talk about the 3 attributes of this chakra. But the primary function of this chakra is willpower. This is your motivator. As I said, your internal engine, your forward motion. This is your inner sun, your inner fire. And the element is obviously fire for this chakra. And it's ruled by the planet of the sun. So every chakra does have a different ruling planet. I've decided with these chats just to keep things pretty basic. So that's why I'm giving you kind of like an overview of the chakra system and each chakra and some basic information, and then talking to you about 3 main attributes. So the 3 attributes for the 3rd chakra is your self-esteem, your energy, and transformation. So breaking these 3 things down. Self-esteem, pretty self-explanatory really, isn't it? This is your sense of self-worth. This is how worthy you feel of achieving your dreams and goals. This is how worthy you feel of even aligning with your soul purpose. This is your confidence. This is your autonomy, your ability to have the confidence and self-assuredness to actually work independently without constantly needing reassurance from other people, without constantly, some people can't make decisions without consulting several people in their lives. And this is the chakra that addresses that situation. And yes, there are often situations where we do need outside counsel, but it is about being able to trust ourselves and our inner autonomy and our inner ability to make decisions. And only you can know for yourself if you do have that inner strength where when push comes to shove, you trust yourself to make the right decision and that you can operate on your own if need be. This chakra is all about the ego as well. This is the great ego death. This is the chakra through which we process our ego deaths and we actually transform. And when you see someone who is over-identified with their ego, and ego is your sense of self, and it has been used in a negative way when you say, oh, that person has such a huge ego. Oh my God, they have such a big head. They love themselves sick. People who have a fabricated sense of confidence are dealing with generally a very fragile ego that has come from trauma or, a myriad of things. But your ego it does get addressed in the 7th chakra as well, when we're literally talking about the separation of self from all that is, like the greater consciousness, the universe. And so ego is absolutely addressed again in the 7th chakra. But in the 3rd chakra, this is very much those basic elements of the ego, as in, how confident do you feel in yourself? And is that confidence a true confidence, or is it one that you have created and that you lead with because you're trying to manipulate people around you to love you, give you what you want, help you get where you're going? So this is the chakra where you start to figure out your, I suppose, true identity versus the one that is created. So sense of self-worth. And it's such a, I don't know, it's such a tender topic to me, because that for me is something that I have personally struggled with greatly in this lifetime. Thankfully, not so much anymore, because I've been able to do the healing I needed to do to recover my sense of self and therefore my sense of self-worth. But gosh, what was I listening to? I'm going down a really big Esther Hicks hole right now. So Abraham Hicks. Abraham is an entity that Esther Hicks channels, and she's kind of like the OG, one of the OG peeps in like the whole manifestation realm. And I love to just like binge on her YouTube videos every now and then. And something that she was saying is that, or Abraham was saying through her, is that you've never oh god, I'm going to butcher this, but let me just try and like get this across because it's relevant to the third chakra. But you never feel as worthy as you possibly could unless you are living your soul purpose and manifesting a life from that place. That is where a sense of self-worth comes. It's when you're working, you're co-creating your life with the universe because you have aligned with your true purpose, which is what this chakra is all about. So you align with your purpose, and then you take strides to achieve your goals, and the universe meets you halfway, whether it's through signs, synchronicities, happenstances, kismet, all of those kinds of things. But essentially you're like, okay, I'm going to, for example, in my own journey, I'm going to make a film. And the film, everything just started to come together. And my first film, it was not, let me tell you, an easy process by any means, because I was learning a new skill very quickly on the spot. But the amount of support, the incredible synchronicities that occurred in order to bring forward the circumstances that I needed to create a film that was ultimately going to premiere in the top 16 of one of Australia's best known film festivals. And that was my first attempt at filmmaking, as opposed to the many years I spent as an actor, basically pushing shit up a hill and having what felt like the universe working against me. That gave me a sense of just relief and self-worth that I could never have achieved by I don't know, like seeking fame and fortune in ways for the sake of being famous and having money, essentially. So once I aligned with my true purpose, which is a storyteller, essentially, and yes, acting is part of being a storyteller, but I am meant to be the puppeteer as opposed to the puppet. That's my role in this greater game of storytelling. Everyone has a role who's attracted to this field. That's my role. And once I let go of the role I so desperately wanted to be my role, which was that of I mean, I don't like to say puppet and puppeteer because but as the actor versus, say, the writer-director, I wanted so badly to act, but it wasn't the path. That's not to say I won't ever do it again, but in terms of me, say, becoming the next Nicole Kidman, that was not my path. And oh my God, I held on to that. I wanted my identity, my sense of self-worth. Everything was attached to me becoming a well-known actor. And of course, it wasn't happening. And so I was in this vicious cycle of rejection and shame and a low self-worth. And when I finally just opened the door to what I was truly meant to be doing, because I was right, I was in the right industry, I just wasn't accepting what it was I was meant to be doing. And the second I did, everything flooded in. It flooded in, and I felt a great sense of peace and self-worth. And so there are many ways, to recover your self-esteem, and healing your trauma is one of them. A low self-esteem comes from as well, abuse, neglect, all of those kinds of things. Being in a codependent relationship, any of that stuff, all of which I've done, but the recovery of your self-worth comes through healing your trauma and aligning with your purpose. I'm jumping in here because I want to ask you a question. Have you ever considered coaching and energy clearing as an option to support your personal healing journey? We often turn to therapy for unpacking the past, but what about what you want to create for your future? Coaching is a great tool for defining the action steps that will move you forward, and energy clearing removes the resistance to those action steps. So, my unique offering called The Blend, which is a combination of the two, can be complementary to your deep dive into past traumas with your therapist, or used as a tool on its own to radically strip away the energetics that no longer serve you, so you can consciously define the parameters of your life. Because most people's lives are defined by the parameters of their mind, not the other way around. Coaching and energy clearing makes conscious what is unconscious, so that you no longer are a servant to your outdated protective programming, noisy thought patterns, family energetics, and whatever else is going on inside your mind. So if you'd like to learn more about the blend and how it could support you transitioning into a more fulfilled version of yourself and your life, go to our website, which is also listed in the show notes of this episode at www.urbanascension.co, that's .co, not .com, and schedule a free half-hour discovery call with me, because I would love to chat about what's holding you back and how I can help you move forward. Which then brings me to step number 2, or attribute number 2 for the solar plexus chakra, which is energy. We're a fireball. Inside our sort of like solar plexus area there, we have a fireball. And if your fire is out, or if you're just some smoldering coals, you're not going to have the energy, the literal energy you need to metabolize your food, let alone metabolize your life. This is the chakra where if you struggle with inertia and a low energy and a lack of motivation, and I suppose, and the sort of depressive states that come along with living in that space of inertia and inability to like move forward or self-motivate. It's that inspiration to get up in the morning. It's that inspiration to move your body, to make healthy choices, to be active, essentially, exercise. And people who over-exercise and have excess amounts of energy, sometimes this chakra can get blown out in that way. And it's a very masculine chakra, and I think guys, they're on their 24-hour clock versus women who are on their like month-long clock. I feel like a lot of men that I work with are very, very identified with their third chakra, with their ego, with their sense of self through their achievements in life. And so this chakra can be all about balancing that. Whether you're trying to bring your energy up so that you can actually activate yourself toward your achievements, or whether you're trying to let go of that attachment to your achievements and that you have enough energy, but you're driving towards these egoic goals. But actually just the simple energy levels that we have in life. And as you move through the process of consciousness and ascension, I suppose, and become more and more attuned to different layers of your energetic body, you do actually get to tap into some other energy sources. But blocked emotion and trauma and past memories and the simple blueprint that sometimes we can just get born into. Like, we might not have been born into a very sporty family, and therefore by nature of that, even though our physical body and energy system may desire to be expressed in that way, we end up just, from a young age playing on our iPads all day, and therefore develop unhealthy habits. Like that can be a simple way as to how someone's energy can stay in a very kind of like base level solar plexus chakra. But when I've been working with people to clear this chakra in my energy sessions, it can Like, I've seen some pretty crazy stuff. So when people have, for whatever reasons, needed to withhold their energy in life, because maybe they've been told, like, you're too energetic, you're too much, like, calm yourself, step back, like, stop. When I've unlocked people's third chakras, I have seen like fireballs like shoot out of there, and like fire streams of fire like shoot up to the sky as people reclaim their energy. So this chakra is very much about your energy, just your basic energy levels and your ability to access them or not access them. Anger is also another emotion, energy in motion that is significant to this chakra. And anger can be healthy, guys. Anger in its healthiest form, when someone oversteps a boundary, and a real boundary. So when, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say when someone oversteps, so we all have ideas of what is right and wrong. And when someone oversteps one of our boundaries of what is wrong to us, anger is a natural emotion, because it's signifying that someone has done wrong by us. And as I was saying last week, that with the sacral, it's all about being able to experience our emotions and let them go. Anger is meant to fire us up so that we have the fuel to take action, but we aren't meant to stay in that space. It is, it's naturally a byproduct. It's like combustion, We have moments of combustion. That's what this chakra is. Moments of energy, just like bursting out. And it's meant to pass. So if you are someone who is stuck in anger, you're probably going to want to do a bit of work in this chakra as well. Likewise, if you're like me, and in the past, not anymore, thankfully, but in the past, I was someone who was like, oh, I don't get angry. No, I'm just, I'm all about peace, love, and understanding, and I just want the world to be a beautiful place. And spiritual bypassing is what that is called. And when you take this high road and you ignore the fact that you're not living inside your emotional body, and it's because I was actually disassociated from my anger, because my childhood traumas caused me to have to separate myself from those emotions, particularly anger, which would have activated inside me and caused me to take action, or caused me to cause a ruckus in a very sensitive situation where there would have been very serious repercussions. So I swallowed that, and I was too young to understand what I was doing. And then as a result, I dissociated from that, and I just became a spiritual doormat. That's what I would call myself. I was walked all over. That's what happens when you're not connected to a healthy sense of anger. When your third chakra, your willpower, and your sense of self, again, when you get walked over, it's because you don't have a strong sense of self. So someone who does have a strong sense of self will seek you out. Someone with an unhealthily strong sense of self will seek you out because you're the perfect match for them, and you can trauma bond in that way. But someone with a strong sense of self in a healthy way will seek out someone else with a strong sense of self in a healthy way. Okay, so energy is number 2. And the third main attribute is transformation. And as I said before, energy is emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. It is the power of creation, but also transformation. So if you are on purpose, which is what this chakra is all about, it's aligning with your purpose and heading toward that bullseye. If you are on purpose, then you will naturally start to transform. So there will be, if you're not on purpose in your life, and you're struggling to even find your purpose and your sense of self, then the healing of that is going to be a big transformational process for you. And you will need to look at several different chakras, in order to attain that healing. But here's the thing. People are like, oh, well, if I just knew if I just knew what I was meant to do in my life and then I was just doing it, everything would be okay. And yeah, it would. It would be a much better sense of okay than probably when you're feeling lost and unsure about what you should be doing. But let me tell you, when you are on your track, you tend to call in situations that are going to help you grow and step into an even deeper sense of that path. And you're going to call in challenges, and you are going to have to go to battle sometimes. You're going to have to transform, and you're going to have to grow. And that's why this chakra is about transformation, because we will be burned to the ground as we have ego deaths, and then like the phoenix, we will rise from the ashes. So I think we're in the tail end of Scorpio season right now, and Scorpio is all about sex, death, birth, transformation, rebirth. And this chakra, in many ways, is our chakra of transformation, because it gives us the energy to actually pursue our healing, to pursue our dreams. And I mean, that's essentially that's the two things that everyone's doing in life, right? We're pursuing our healing, or we're pursuing our dreams, or both. Pursuing our healing in order to pursue our dreams, right? And it's all transformation. We're constantly growing, expanding, because every time you clear blocks in your energy system, every time you reprogram those negative thought processes in your mind, every time you do something at that soul level, it is realized on the physical plane. And then that in itself ripples out and draws in a higher frequency of circumstance, experience, and people who are going to be connecting with you. And then sometimes you have to let go of the circumstances, experiences, and people who previously were the right fit but are no more the right fit. And hence you have transformed. Hence you have had an ego death. So this chakra, I mean, I'm kind of making it sound a bit scary, I guess, to anyone who's like, oh, I'm just trying to get out of bed in the morning. I don't know if I really have what it takes for all of that. And yeah, I think that the answer to that is this chakra. When you find that sense of self and you understand what your purpose is and you're working towards it, you are, and motivation and inspiration is a natural byproduct of that. When you start caring for your body in the sense that, it can be as simple as 5 jumping jacks or star jumps or whatever you call them. It can be as simple as doing that once a day. It's about changing your energy. Change your energy, you change your mind. Change your mind, you change your life. So, and this is also how we take ourselves out of like shame spirals, because there is an element of you're struggling to get out of the bed in the morning, and so you hit that alarm like 10 times, and then you finally get up, and then you're running late for work and you arrive late, and it's okay once or twice, but let's face it, this is the 4th time you've done it this week, and then how many times were there last week? And so there is an element of degradation to our own sense of self when we're not meeting our contracts. And so if you're like, oh, I'm contracted to start work at 9 o'clock every day, and every day that just pushes back and back and back, and maybe once a week, you do a 9 o'clock start. Like it's the breaking of the contracts that we've made that degrades the self as well. And that, instills just, whether it's a small sense of shame or a greater sense of shame, because you feel so unworthy because when you were young, you had some circumstances that caused your brain to form that way and think that way. Or, oh God, I just totally lost my train of thought. But, I think you're getting what I'm trying to say. It happens, guys. I'm here, I'm talking into this mic, and I'm just hoping that some wisdom is coming through. So, I think that's going to wrap up our solar plexus chat for today. Those are the three main attributes. It is our self-esteem, our willpower, sense of self, ego, our confidence, our ability to make decisions on our own for ourselves. It is our actual energy. It is our lethargy versus our activation, our motivation, like our desire to get up and chase our dreams because we actually have the confidence to do it, or we're aligned with the appropriate dream. Because sometimes the dreams that we have are so far removed from our current reality that they're not actually inspiring, they're overwhelming. And so, as an aside, like that's what you would use a life coach for. And if anybody's interested in coaching, I can help you build that bridge between where you are and where you're going, because it's often that gap that seems so unattainable and then puts us into that place where we just don't try at all, right? And so that is a lot of solar plexus stuff. And then transformation. It's what we're on this planet to do. I hope that not one soul who ever is born onto this planet stays exactly the same, because that would be dull and quite boring. And I know people in my life who try to, contain themselves and compartmentalize and try to keep everything in control. And control is another aspect of this particular chakra as well, because dominance and the need to control and power are very much attributes. I mean, look, I could talk about this all day. There is so much. The chakras are so layered energetically, psychologically. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to wrap this chat right up right now. So self-esteem, energy, personal transformation, personal power. If those are things you struggle with, then you might want to look at this chakra. I hope this episode has inspired you to keep going on what can sometimes be a tough road to inner peace and true happiness. If you want to dive deeper into what we talked about today, go to thehealingcocoon.co for show notes and all things personal growth. And don't forget, if you're loving The Healing Cocoon, then put that love into action and subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you download your podcasts. And until next time, my friends, let's rise and shine together.